Good evening, everybody. My name is Juan Ibagon. I am business developer from Bytom blockchain. I am a graduate from French University. I did my studies in international business. I moved to China in 2013, and I founded a company focused on international trade between China, Europe, and Latin America. During my experience working in international trade, I focused mostly on using time strategies, AML, and KYC procedures. I am an investor and participant in the blockchain industry. I have experience in the mining sector since 2016. I am an educator and ICO evaluator. I joined Bytom not a long time ago, for being exact, almost 2 months. I'm here tonight to present to you about Bytom blockchain. I would like us to review really fast what an asset is. Actually, an asset is an entity which the old economic owner will derive some benefits during the time he uses it or he holds it. In a simple word, just when you have your asset, you will derive some benefits. Like you can have benefits, it can be also considered as an store of value. We actually have different kinds of assets. We have current assets, that is cash, or any kind of assets intended to be consumed during 1 year. We also have long-term investments, that are those investments you do for long term and are not intended to be used in the nearby present. We have also the fixed assets, that are the PPE, property, plant, and equipment. These are intended to be used and have some benefit from it. We have also the intangible assets, such as trademark and copyrights. And we have finally the tangible assets that are mostly like real estate, cars, and other kind of assets like this. I say all this because actually we're seeing an asset form change during history. We see first here in the past physical assets like gold that you can touch and exchange with others. But now that we are more in the digital era and we're moving with more use in computer, actually we can find a new kind of assets like the byte assets. Before telling you about how the Bitcoin network is, I would like to use my case for elaborate this aspect of the pure byte assets. Meaning that when I start my company, I actually didn't have any kind of software that I used. Actually, I create my own tools, meaning that I create my own database. I create also my own Excel spreadsheets and my own procedures that allow me to make my work more efficient and bring better revenue to my company. In the case of Bitcoin, a pure byte asset is mostly that it has this network and you can use the native currency that is Bitcoin. With the advance now and with the era of digitalization, we are going to move and create new assets that are illiquid and we want to bring it into the blockchain. To understand this, I would like us to review really fast the asset world scope to see how big the asset market is. Here we can see actually some evaluation of some companies such as Amazon are 400 billion. We have also Apple around 730 billion. We see also the stock market is around $66.8 trillion, and so on. So we can see from this aspect, from this perspective, that the asset market is a trillion opportunity. Bitcoin appears in this moment as a solution for a new kind of asset. We know that Bitcoin appears in 2008, the first time, as a result of a financial crisis. Bitcoin is the combination of some technologies and attributes. The combination of blockchain technology plus the DLT, distributed ledger technology, and the open and public attributes. The combination of these three attributes will allow us to create a new asset class that cannot be tampered. This is really important because the blockchain allows to create value that cannot be immutable and can allow us to have transparency with each other. I am 100% the support of Bitcoin, but I do agree that Bitcoin blockchain has some deficiencies, such as the problem with Bitcoin is it only supports one currency, the native asset that is Bitcoin. This doesn't allow it to make it so easy to interact with other blockchains and to interact with other kind of assets, where it makes a limitation for the blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain. Second, Bitcoin doesn't need of any kind of AML or KYC procedures. This makes it really hard for institutions or governments who want to participate in the blockchain technology or invest in Bitcoin to actually really go into this and invest in a way where they are compliant. And third, the mining. Mining in Bitcoin is extremely expensive. The barriers to enter to mine Bitcoin right now are very complicated, very high fees, in the sense that if I want to invest in mining, buying one mining can be for fun. But if you really want to be a miner, you need to invest quite a good amount of money into computational power. So enter Bytom. Actually, Bytom's focus is mostly to take the illiquid assets that doesn't exist yet, that you create, and make them appear in the blockchain, where you can find a new market for those assets with an improved price discovery and actually create value for these tokens. But we are not only focused on that part. That's one part where we focus, and the second part we focus is bringing the liquid assets, such as stocks of companies, all this data information they have, and bring it into the blockchain and start to benefit from this. In the end, this technology is mostly a way to maximize the efficiency of every asset, the means of ownership, the fluidity in the market, and actually means of payments. At the end, the focus is to maximize and optimize the world economy. As I don't know if somebody knows who is Anthony Pompliano here. Actually, Anthony Pompliano is a very big supporter of Bitcoin, and he always says, tokenize the world. We are actually moving forward to tokenize the world and give to all these kind of new assets, new markets, and new price discovery and valuation. What is Bytom? Well, Bytom is actually a dedicated public chain protocol for assets. We are open source, and our goal is mostly to connect the byte assets with the atomic assets. This meaning two things. One, as I said before, the illiquid assets will have the opportunity to benefit from the blockchain and find the markets where they can have some liquidity and value. And second, the part where the liquid assets, such as stocks, can move and be registered in the blockchain and benefit from all the good characteristics of the blockchain. Who are the users of Bytom? Bytom has users such as any kind of user or organization who is willing to move their assets freely around the world. As I said before, if we check the scope, we are actually looking to a market of trillions of dollars, and we actually want to create a financial intelligence from this. I don't want to get very technical, but I will just describe really fast what is about the 4 layers of innovation that Bytom has. First is that every asset registered in our blockchain will be unique in means of ownership and to be unique without duplicate in any other space. Second, we're going to use the UTXO model. This will allow us to use to have better ownership and controllability for the users of each asset. Third, we're going to create safe smart contracts only with the unit design to be financial trading. And the fourth innovation, and the most important from us, is that we're going to use a new algorithm based in AI hash power. We create a new algorithm called Tensority. Tensority is based in tensor calculations that with the workload accumulate can be a big part benefit for deep learning of AI. So I will take the last two parts to explain a little more how we want this to work. So if we take the part of the smart programs, I want to register one of my assets of a company, a medium company who cannot get in the stock exchange, and I can create assets for my investors, put it into the blockchain, and I can decide to pay dividends to my investors. Let's say I write a smart contract where I say every 3 months, where I lock some amount of Bitcoin, let's say I lock 100 Bitcoins, and I want to pay to my investors every 3 months 10 Bitcoins. They can divide it. This, first of all, will allow us to have transparency with our investors between companies, and this will maximize the speed for any kind of transaction. Also, it will help us with our Bytom virtual machine to create intelligence for the financial market. Coming back to the AI ASIC friendly part, that is the most important innovation we have, is that the miners and the technology we are willing to create is looking forward to avoid the same mistake as Bitcoin. We want to be more decentralized, moving forward to a way where we can implement actually AI ASIC chips in different kind of products, such as can be routers, cameras. The main APP we're aiming is to put AI ASIC chips in surveillance cameras for facial recognition AI. So that means that when we put the machine, the camera is working all day doing AI acceleration service for facial recognition. But when the night arrives and the human activity is much lower, we can check how the machine, the camera, can go into a kind of miner mode, because at the end of the time, the machine can be doing two tasks. It doesn't need actually to be only AI services. It's gonna allow us to bring the revenue that can be given to the users of Bytom. Well, why Bytom? Well, in Bytom, actually, we see the code as an asset. Why we see code as an asset? Actually, we see code as an asset because without realizing it, now we are surrounded by code. In many places where you see, there's code everywhere for many things, and we are living in an encoded world. But the beauty of that is actually that the software is valuable just because it can be created very easy, it can be changed very easy, in a very inexpensive way, and really fast. We can make example of Facebook if we want. When everybody started to use Facebook here, I imagine everybody remembers that the first interface and the first code actually was in a certain way. I cannot remember how it was before. So, but we could start to see that from one day to another, it just changed the interface. After that, we see that they add new features, new ways to collect data. So we see that The code and all these features that Facebook use allow it to bring a lot of value to their company, capturing data in another way and being able to generate income. Software is transforming the world, and many of the people who want to start a company and they need some funds, they also need to create assets because they have their own ways to do things. Each company is different and each company needs to create their processes. That's why creating the code is an asset, because each one of you, if you have your own processes, it's you who is benefiting from this. How we want to achieve this? Well, we want to use the new trend that is the Internet of Value and the digitalization of all the assets. What is the Internet of Value? Who knows who is the Internet of Value? Nobody knows who is the Internet of Value? Well, it's as it says, Internet of Value is just taking this data, we add the value into it, and that's it. What are these tokens actually? What is this cryptocurrency? It's just a bunch of data. There's nothing else. But just because they cannot be duplicated in the blockchain, this makes it unique and give value. Also, the digitalization is bringing all these kind of things, stocks and assets that doesn't exist in the blockchain, to move it into the blockchain and benefit from it. We want to use Odin. Who knows what is Odin here? Somebody knows who's that? What's that? Well, nobody knows. So I invite you everybody to go to Google and check it. So Odin is mostly an open data index name. Actually, everything you register there is public for everybody and is unique. So the day of tomorrow, when you create an asset, well, it would be entered into Odin and you can be checking that. We want to create a new trust machine besides the one of Bitcoin. The trust machine will be decentralized with tensority, actually. What tensority brings to us? Well, tensority brings a new way to cut the boundaries between blockchain and AI. The problem is that when you have only Bitcoin mining, you are only mining. The miners you have, they only works for one thing, mining. This has two big problems. First is that you waste a lot of energy and a lot of computational resources. And the second one is that when the new generation of machines arrive, the old generation you have, they will become waste because they cannot keep up with the new speed of the new machines. So we want to avoid that, actually. We want to create kind of miners that are able to do two things in a way that, okay, you are not mining because your machine is outdated, so you can just simply buy a new hardware for mining with better capacity and put your old hardware into work for AI services. Also, we're going to use our team and the influence we have in the blockchain industry. Bytom is a Chinese project mostly. So I will talk really fast about this. Actually, the founders and the top managers are Mr. Chanjia and Duan Xinxin. Both of them, they started very early investors in Bitcoin. Each one has different background. Chanjia is mostly a writer and a proponent of Bitcoin. He is the founder of 8BTC. 8BTC is a media and a media social platform in China, where you can follow up all the news for cryptocurrencies and blockchain. Mr. Duan Xinxin is mostly the CEO of Bytom. He used it to work before for companies such as OKCoin and other products. He has a big experience in the blockchain company and influence. He was one of the first who translated Chinese, the white paper of Bitcoin into Chinese. Now our development department has two main players. I will say that is Lang Yu, that is the CTO of Bytom in this moment. He was a senior engineer in Alibaba. And he helped to create mostly block meta, that is a Bitcoin data centralized system, central system, and the first Chinese Bitcoin crowdfunding. We also have Yu Ichi. He is a core developer of the Bytom team. He is in charge of the Bytom virtual machine, and well, he is the one who is responsible for many of the operations regarding how our blockchain works. I extend an invitation to all of you. I know that there is very complicated and it's very hard for the West to find the information about all kind of news of cryptocurrencies and blockchain from China. So I know anybody, every time you want to know something about China, if you are not in China, actually you don't have how to look about it. So 8BTC, they have English APP, so don't worry for the Chinese part. And well, I want to conclude actually with doing two things: showing our objectives and extending an invitation to the public. So, to conclude, we have actually two main objectives. The first objective is to link the real world and the digital world. How we want to do that? We want to be completely compliant. We want to be friendly with the actual financial system. We want to follow up with AML and KYC procedures in order to have more trust in our blockchain. In this way, all the participants and all those financial institutions who are willing to participate and invest with us or move their assets, they simply are going to be more interested because we want to follow up these procedures. Right now we have a use case. I think we signed 1 month ago, if I'm not wrong, with the East Lake data exchange of Hangzhou. What we are doing mostly is transferring their data information into our blockchain. In a way we can protect the ownership and make these assets they already have, making it much fluid in the blockchain. And second, as I already said, the mining industry 2.0, or the POW, Proof of Work 2.0, trying to enable a smart POW era with our new algorithm. We actually want to work together forward to give more power and service to AI. We also, 15 days ago, we also signed an agreement with Bytom. Who knows here who is Bytom? Okay, well, Bytom is one of the biggest manufacturers of mining equipment in the world. They are based in China. And the agreement between both of us was mostly to construct an AI park. So we're going to construct this park focused only on AI acceleration services and AI development. I want to extend also the invitation now to all of you to try our interface. Our mainnet is already live, so go ahead and download the information in the GitHub, and you can actually interact with it, see how it works. You can create your own assets if you want also, so it works to try. And I want to invite the people here present who wants to help us to grow our community, to talk to us, to send our questions, to help us to participate and extend the knowledge about Bytom, and also to follow up with us and contact us if we want to do some partnerships or possible ways to change, to cooperate, and looking for new partnerships and add more value to our blockchain. Well, you can contact us by LinkedIn, you can contact me, or by email. And well, for conclusion, I would just like to say thank you very much for listening, and let's tokenize the world.
like to share a story about one of the founder of Bytom, and Mr. Chang Xia. So back in 2011, there's a freshman. No, I don't think he's a freshman. I think he just graduated from college. So he went on Baidu, like that's a Chinese version of Google. So he asked a question back in 2011. I have 6,000 RMB and I wanted to buy some investment product. Any suggestion? And then Chang Xia, the founder of Bytom, replied saying, buy Bitcoin, all of those 6,000, and but keep it in your wallet. Forget about this thing. Forget about that you actually invested in Bitcoin. And then 5 years later, and check out how much money you have. This is a real story. I have a screenshot of that little story. And I met Mr. Chang Xia himself, and he said, yeah, because I believed in it since the beginning. I don't know if this person bought Bitcoin or not, but I really wish that he did.